Well, howdy folks, welcome back to this series I've been doing on Modular Synth 101. If you haven't checked out the playlist in the description, please check that out. Today's video is going to be all about getting started in modular. So maybe you saw this series, or maybe you were already curious and you're like, okay, I'm bit by the bug, how do I get started? That's what we're going to talk about today. So one of the easiest ways to get started in this Eurorack modular realm is to get a semi-modular synth. There are a few of them out on the market, but I'm going to recommend a couple here. Moog makes one called the Mother 32. It's very popular. A lot of people use it and love it. And then Create Audio has two newer ones out that are called the East Beast and the West Pest. They're both really great. They give you a lot of bang for the buck. And the nice thing about these cases, and one of the reasons that I recommend these, is they're just the same size as these Eurorack modules here with the same screw pattern and everything. So you can just get a standard Eurorack case and expand it with some more modules, maybe to take care of things like modulation or effects or things like that. So they're very easy to build upon. Now, if you're gonna go the other route and you wanna just go fully modular, you don't wanna start with a semi-modular, and the first thing you're gonna need is a Eurorack case. And like this one that you see here, this one is 84 HP wide. What does that mean? HP, horizontal pitch, is what that stands for. And this module is 10 HP, this one's 20 HP, this one's 2 HP, 4 HP, so on and so forth. Every module has a size. Well, that's how you determine how many can fit in your particular rack. Now, the next decision is, do you get a powered case that already has the power supply built in, or do you get an unpowered case and add your own power supply? Now, powered cases, there are several of them on the market that come in all different shapes and sizes, from very small to very large. And the thing is, with those, you just plug them in and go, because the power supply is already in the case. And these might be easier for a beginner. If you buy an unpowered case, it's literally just an unloaded box, but it's got all the rails and everything for mounting, and you'll have to add your own power solution. Now, this can be more cost effective just depending on what you're doing, because there's lots of different power solutions on the market. There are some that are just simply a Eurorack module with what we call a flying bus cable, or basically it's a ribbon cable that you will use to power all your modules. Then there are some that are a little more permanent, where you'll actually have to screw things in and maybe drill holes and whatnot. All of them comply to the Eurorack power standard, which is very well documented. And then all of your power supplies and their documentation will tell the rating of how many amps they produce on the positive 12, negative 12, and 5 volt rails. There are 3 different power rails within the Eurorack system. Typically speaking, you'll have these like bus headers that you'll plug your power cables into. It's very simple because most of them are keyed, so you can't plug it in backwards. And they'll also have this red stripe that typically indicates which way that a module is supposed to go, and a lot of the bus boards and cases will be marked, red stripe here or something. So once you have your case and your power solution, you're ready to start buying modules. Now, the first thing I would recommend for anyone who wants to get into buying modules is to open an account on modulargrid.net. It's literally made for modular enthusiasts, and it helps you set up your rack and figure out what will fit and visualize it. And it also helps you figure out how much power your rack will need. Very, very useful site, completely free to set up an account. So I would recommend that to everybody. One of the other things that's awesome about Modular Grid is you might not know where to start, but you can go in there and they have a really great search feature, which you can search for something like, say you want an oscillator module. You can set it for oscillator, and you can see all the different oscillator modules on the market. And then if you have more specific things, like you want it to be no more than 6 HP wide, you can put that parameter in there and it will show you just the ones that fit that parameter. And so you can find one that you like, and then if you click on that module, you can read more about it and see some demo videos and things like that. It is a great, great site. If you're gonna get into this, make sure you open an account on modulargrid.net. So now, once you get your first modules and you actually start putting them in there and start experimenting, you'll want to build a system. So a modular system does not have any one parameter. Now, I went through several different types of modules in this series, LFOs, VCAs, etc., and that's kind of the bread and butter of a modular system, but it's whatever you want it to be. There are lots of different ways to do it. If you wanted to build a modular system that's very small and portable, you could easily do that. If you wanted to build a modular system that's all one manufacturer, so it looks very uniform and kind of logical, you can do that. If you wanted to build a modular system that had a whole bunch of different types of modules and different brands in it so that you could just kind of change it for whatever you're feeling that day, you could do that. Or if you wanted to just build a modular system that integrates with your other gear, you can do that. So that's the wonderful thing about it. It can be whatever you want it to be. Now, I should probably also address the elephant in the room, so to speak. If you start looking at different modular cases, you'll notice some that have a smaller row in addition to the standard module row. That's what's known as a 1U row. And a lot of cases out there have that. I would recommend that beginners steer clear of that altogether because it adds an unnecessary level of complication, especially when you're a beginner. The reason for that is there's actually two different standards for 1U modules, and they're within about 1.5 millimeters, so it isn't obvious of which one's which, so sometimes you won't know. In addition, they not only are different sizes, one of them has a different power adapter that you need to power those modules, where the other one works on sort of the standard power adapter. I know some people swear by the 1U modules, but if they make their video, they can tell you to go ahead. This is my video, I'm gonna say what I think, and I think that you should steer clear of those if you are a beginner. So that was a few tips to help get you started in modular. If you're really interested in this, you can certainly get started and you can go as deep as you want. It is a very deep rabbit hole and some people get really consumed by it, so proceed with caution. But it is really a fun little hobby, and there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. And with a modular synth, you can do things you can't do with any other piece of gear, just depending on the modules you choose and the way you put it together. Plus, it's totally customizable and totally yours. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this series. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you haven't already. Really appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up.